Well, hey there, everybody. I'm Adam. Thanks for hanging out with me again today. And on to the what's on the wall today is the frog. Now, I know we just saw this because I just did the grungy, dirty, weathered paint job. Still have the original body, but two things is I don't have the mirrors, the lights on it right now, and these bodies are a pain in the butt to get off. So I like the dirty look, so we're sticking with that. Anyway, not what today's video is about. Today's a what's up on the wall. So the frog came out in 1983, towards the end of 83, I think in December, on part number 58041. Now, currently it's on part number 58354. So that was in 2005 when it was re-released, and they're still currently making them today. So this buggy is on the ORV chassis. So that ORV stands for off-road vehicle. Now, there is a little bit of debate whether the ORV and the Blackfoot chassis are the same or different. Essentially, the ORV is the same ladder frame. It's identical from here back. And then the biggest difference, well, really the only difference between the ORV chassis and the Blackfoot chassis is the front suspension. So on the ORV, which is the Frog, the Subaru Brat, and the Lancia Rally, are the three cars that have the identical chassis to this. They have the same front suspension and everything. The only thing different between this and the Brat and the Rally is the front body mount. This one is way down low, and those other ones have a taller raised body mount. Other than that, basically the same thing. The way the suspension works on the ORV chassis and why it differs so much between these and the Blackfoot is the spring system up here is built into the chassis, to where on the Blackfoot chassis there's a shock tower and actual shocks on the front. This has no actual dampening. It's just a sprung front end. So there is a spring that runs centrally inside of the chassis going left to right. There are two nylon caps on each end of that spring, and on the bottom of the A-arms there are little push bars molded into them, and when you compress the chassis, those things press in on the spring. So if one compresses, it presses on the spring, or if both compress, they both press on the spring and give you that dampening. There's a little bit of anti-wear grease in there, and that's the dampening that you get. Surprisingly, it works very well. There's not a whole lot of weight up here. Most of the weight is center back because your battery sits way back here, all your electronics sitting way back here, all your drivetrain and everything heavy is basically going to be from the windows back. So there's not a whole lot of weight up here to actually, do much with. So that little spring suspension works very well on them. Now the gearboxes are identical on them. It's a two-plate design that smooshes all the stuff in. It's kind of a finicky transmission to put together. One of the common issues with these is if you put the diff in one way or flip it around, it will either bind up or it will run smoothly. Why, I don't know, but you have to really kind of pay attention to the way they have it illustrated in the manual to see which side of the diff gear you have to put in, because if you flip it over and stick it in, then it takes up just a little bit too much space and everything is kind of binding on it. So when you tighten down all the screws and you get binding, undo the transmission, flip that differential gear over and put it back together, and it should run nice and smooth. Now again, you're kind of smushing everything together, so you don't want to crank down on these things. So you're not building a real one-to-one car, so you don't need to get out your Craftsman set and torque down on it. Make everything tight, everything should be fine. And like I said, if you get binding, take it apart, flip that gear over and put it back in, everything should work fine. This has the cool lay-down shocks in the rear. Now the ones on the Hornet are aluminum. Later ones, the Blackfoot and the Monster Beetle, all had the bigger bore plastic shocks. This has the small bore aluminum shocks, similar to kind of what's on a Hornet. It looks like a bigger body, but the internals are kind of the same. But works great. If anything, it's a little stiff, but it was made in 1983, and they really haven't redesigned much of anything on it other than maybe the axles. I don't remember. I guess these did have the kind of goofy axles in there when they first came out. I don't remember. I'll put it down here if they had the goofy hex axles in there. I know the Blackfoot came out with those goofy hex axles and they were a pain in the butt. And I think that was 86. So this may have had them. But anyway, they come with dog bones now, so there's no problem with the drivetrain. Seems to work really well. I know a lot of people complain that sometimes with these transmissions, the gears will kind of skip if you put too much power to them. It allows the case to flex. But I don't generally put that much power into something that was designed in 1983. I just run the silver can or, a sport tune or something in them. But anyway, I know you guys just saw this not too long ago, but I had a request from Mark from RCU in the Shed. Cool Aussie down there, does a lot of rock crawling videos. He wanted to see what's up on the wall for the frog, so I felt obliged to go ahead and do this one. So, again, we have the stock body. I think I'm going to rock the weathered one on here. It just looks like something you found in the attic that was put away dirty and, 40 years later you got it back out and be like, huh, that's what I did with that. But anyway, guys, everybody out there, you guys be happy, be healthy, be safe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. See you. And those plungers press against the little tabs on the chassis.